Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Muppets, the Sitcom, the podcast, presented by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we revisit The Muppets' grand return to television in the 2015 ABC series The Muppets and see how it holds up 5 years later. You can follow along with the series by revisiting The Muppets, which is now streaming on Disney+. I'm Ryan Roe, your host for today's show, and I'm joined today by two special guests. They are both fellow Muppet superfans and contributors to the world of Tough Pigs. Everyone say hello in alphabetical order to Dave Hulteen.
Hey, hey.
And Matt Wilkie.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you both very much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
And today you're here to talk about the episode Because Love. You have to pause like that because there are ellipses in the title.
The ellipses, yeah.
Yeah, this is the 16th episode of The Muppets, and actually the final episode of The Muppets, which we'll talk about more later, I'm sure. This aired on March 1st, 2016. Season finale and also series finale. Now, you two have kind of an unusual perspective on this specific episode, but before we get to that, we like to ask our guests at the top of the show, what are your general memories about watching the series when it first aired, and this episode specifically? I assume both of you are watching the show week to week.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. Dave, go ahead.
Oh, well, my story's way better than yours, so you probably want to go first.
All right. Well, yes, I did watch it. Watched it every week, and funny enough, I watched it with Ryan Dozier almost every week. We would get together and watch that at
That's
his
cool.
apartment. So it was really fun. I loved the show. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a really great melding of a classic Muppets with a modern setting, and especially like the back half was I thought just terrific, and I really wish it had continued.
So you were on board from the very beginning.
For sure, yeah.
Cool. Dave?
So Matt and I were both actually at Comic-Con when they, in San Diego, when they, did their panel and all that. And we were like really kind of geared up from the very, very beginning, even the preliminary stuff. I was totally geared on and probably even maybe pushing it a little harder than it deserved. Even though the same thing, I loved it. I thought the potential for it was just ever expanding. But for me, there was potential to actually be involved in helping out if a second season happened.
Oh.
It was nothing written, nothing set in stone, but I had several conversations to maybe be brought on to be able to help in some way with design work. So wow. I was really kind of like, let's get a second season going.
Yeah, really. I don't think I ever knew that. That
I'm
all the more reason why it's such a huge loss that there wasn't a second season. They missed out. Was that San Diego panel? Was that the one they showed the presentation pilot?
Yes. Yeah. And they did a lot of back and forth with they actually had the Muppets out. And I think it was for me when the series was canceled, I really wish people really could have been at that Comic-Con panel just to feel the electricity, because like there were thousands of Muppet fans in that room. And like everybody was like, yeah, baby, they're back. This is going to happen.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And then eventually they did release that presentation pilot on YouTube, and it was very exciting. And then the excitement lasted for a little while, and then the general response from the TV viewing audience was not quite the same.
Yeah,
unfortunately. So tell us why the two of you have a unique perspective on this episode. Whoever wants to go first.
Dave,
do I have to call on you? Do I have to call on you by name?
I like Matt's voice, so that's why I was waiting for him. The short story is I got invited,
visit the set.
I got invited to visit the set, and because I live in New Jersey, and while when I got invited, I needed a place to stay. So I called up Matt. I said, "Can I crash on your couch?" And he said, "Do you think we could come?" And I was like, "They didn't say you couldn't." So, we went out to the set together. But I got invited kind of as a part of that. The whole thing surrounded. From what I told you before, I haven't told anybody that before. That's why you didn't know that. Was I had gotten commissioned to do artwork for as a gift for the performers for the series and whatnot. So and that's kind of what got the ball rolling to do some more stuff. So they're like, "Well, you know what? Regardless, you should really come out and see the set and all that." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. It's a long flight and whatnot." And they were basically like, "Look, we don't know if we're going to get a second season, so you should get out here."
Yeah.
So that's when I reached out to Matt and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing these dates?" And he was like, "Nothing. Are you coming out?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Can I crash on your couch?" And he said, "No, but you can sleep on my floor." And and then so we got to go. I don't think it was their last day of filming, but they were filming this final episode.
Okay.
Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, I believe that's right. There was like 1 or 2 more days later in the week, and I think like most of that stuff was going to be the stuff with Ryan White, and because like I think at one point they were also going to offer us to come back again to see some filming, but then they were like, "Oh, when the celebrities are there, they get a little like they don't want visitors to the set and that kind of stuff."
With Jack White?
Yeah, they were very they had a very hard rule about when there's celebrities there. No guests whatsoever. It doesn't matter who they were. Yeah. I mean, at least that's what they told us.
That makes sense. They don't want normal people ogling the celebrities. So that's very cool. So what are you ready to say what the commissioned art that you did was, Dave?
Yeah, I've never shown it, but basically I got commissioned to do artwork of the main performers' characters. Okay. And I don't remember. Now I can't remember how many I did, but I probably did about half a dozen, and they were hung up in their dressing rooms. And Matt was actually the one that found one of them on Instagram. He texted me. He's like, "Hey, this is your artwork," and I was like, "That's not supposed to be shown." Oh. Not that I signed an NDA right. for that either. But I got committed. It was just like a gift thing, but it was the first commissioned piece of illustrative work that I got to do for someone within the organization, and then it just ballooned from there. And then I think at some point either I became the default guy, or they're like, "Wow, this guy charges basically nothing. Let's use him for everything."
There you go. That's how you get in.
That's how you get in. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's great.
It's not who you know. It's how much you'll do it for.
Good advice, I guess. Question mark.
Terrible advice. Yeah, terrible advice.
Well, that is very cool. So I guess we'll have you guys chime in with details and things that you remember from being on the set as we get into the actual story of the episode. This episode, I guess there's sort of a B plot, but it all kind of runs together. So we can just go through the whole thing at once. Because Love is the episode where Kermit and Piggy both ponder whether they should get back together. So we start this episode actually was aired on the same night as the one that we covered last week. That was Generally Inhospitable. So it was shown as essentially an hour-long episode. We left off with Piggy going into surgery on her foot, and in her drugged state, she told Kermit she loved him, and he said it back. So, oh yes. So yeah, big deal. This one opens with a title card that says 3 days later, with Kermit talking to Ralph in Ralph's Tavern. I don't know that we've talked about this very much, about how this is such a good-looking show, but this shot that we see with just kind of the empty bar with the light streaming in the windows and just Kermit and Ralph sitting at the bar alone, it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks like they're there in the afternoon, or like when the bar isn't open.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool because it was like Kermit and Rolf are just old friends, and he can just like go to the tavern whenever he wants to just hang out with him. I really loved that scene. Yeah. And like their interactions. I thought it was great.
Like maybe Kermit called called up Ralph and was like, I need somebody to talk to. Can I just come over? I know the tavern's closed, but
The two oldest friends basically saying, let's hang out.
yeah. And, we don't traditionally, we haven't seen a lot of conversations between the two of them because they were both originally performed by Jim Henson, but now that they're performed by two different guys, they can have a conversation like this.
Yeah.
So Kermit tells Ralph that he and Piggy broke up for good reasons, but she's been working on herself lately and he misses being together, which makes me think, what about him? Like, doesn't he need to work on himself too? Why is he putting that all on Piggy?
Frogs will literally do anything except go to therapy. It's just
that sounds like a line from this show.
So not to skip ahead, but your overview of this whole episode, then, does that mean you're Team Kermit? Because I'd have to say for this episode, I was Team Piggy.
Yeah, we should get into that as we go along.
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult to say whose team you're on because in this episode, both of them changed their minds a few times.
True.
So when you say you're on Team Piggy, what do you mean by that?
Well, once again, I don't want to jump the gun, but toward the end of the episode, she makes some points that I think sold me more.
Okay.
Her perspective.
So maybe this is a deliberate choice on the writers that Kermit is being kind of oblivious when he says, Piggy's been working on herself without realizing that maybe he has some things to work on too.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I guess the better layout is what are you, team love or team friendship, to be intact with the actual episode.
Yeah. That's a more complicated question, maybe, because it's also that whole thing of like, were they really ever a couple? Because they weren't really on the Muppet Show. Sometimes they are in the movies, et cetera, et cetera. But so Ralph suggests that Kermit should, while he's thinking about it, he should pet Ralph's head. And, I think we had a conversation on the forum several episodes ago about the number of dog jokes that Ralph has on this show. And I was like, oh, sure, but Ralph always does dog jokes. But yeah, too many dog jokes. There's much more to Ralph than just this kind of thing.
Yeah, for a show that expands upon... Oh, sorry, Matt.
Oh, no, go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, for a show that definitely dives into and gives these characters way more dimensions, yeah, it's some of the characters, they kind of just go, no, this is where we're staying.
Yeah, like this is the one thing that Ralph is doing on this show.
It feels like they're like not 2-dimensional, but like 2.5 dimensional, where it's like they're almost there, but they're still like relying a lot on the base characteristics of the characters.
And in this case, it's just he's a
that
dog,
being
so
said,
he gets worms, he gets ticks and fleas, he has to, he gets a cone after he has surgery, he wants to be scratched on his head. Yeah, it's too much of the same thing.
Yeah. That being said, I did think it was hilarious when he flipped his ear. That's more of a puppetry joke than a dog joke. But yes, I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I do really like that little move where he just flips his head and his ear kind of flops over. Which is, isn't that, I don't know which live panel it was where Bill Beretta said that was Ralph's Trump impression. Like he folded the ear up on his head and then he was just like, "You're fired."
Yeah, that was at it was at the D23 panel that they did that. And,
that sounds great.
And yeah, he flipped it over. It was fun.
Yeah,
that's got to be a running thing with.
Where'd it go?
That's got to be a running thing with Bill, because I've seen him do that a couple times with not just Ralph but with other characters. Straight digs.
Directed at Trump?
Oh yeah, always funny.
That's funny.
Always funny.
Huh. Yeah, I would be curious to see that. I guess he hasn't done all of those publicly then, maybe.
No, the ones that I've seen were like outtakes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
For the times that I've been, his big one was just before when in the 2016 debates, he was doing Pepe, and he was going wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah, we all remember that. So Kermit is still confused. Ralph says that they should just flip a coin, and he produces his trusty, rusty buffalo nickel. He says heads. Kermit gets back together with Piggy, and then Ralph explains to us in one of these talking head interviews that this is really just a psychological trick. So then when Kermit flips the coin and it's heads, Kermit is very happy, which proves that that's what he wanted all along. But I should go back a step because Kermit flips a coin.
It's one of two. It's one of two puppetry things that happened in this episode that I was like, that is incredible.
I think I know what the other one is that we'll get to, but it looks, as far as I can tell, there is physically a coin on his thumb before he flips it, right? This is not animated.
No, it looks very practical.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how they did that. Is his thumb spring-loaded? Is there just a puppeteer manipulating just his thumb? It's very impressive.
Yeah, I watched it. I actually rewound it again because I was like, wait a minute, did that really just happen in I mean, if it was CG, which I don't think it was, it's really good, you know, CG. But yeah, it looks like it's a spring-loaded thumb, and it makes you wonder, like, I wonder how often he's got that thing rigged and ready to go.
Yeah, and as I often say, I wonder how many times they had to do that before they got it right.
Oh yeah,
but it looks fantastic.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. So he decides, okay, that's it. He's going to get back together with Piggy. He's going to do something really big tonight. He's going to do a big romantic gesture. So Piggy is in the hospital recovering from her surgery when Deadly comes in. I noticed that, and maybe this has happened before, but she's wearing two necklaces because Piggy always wears the pearls around her neck that hides the seam where Piggy's head kind of swivels on the puppet, but she's also wearing another necklace in this scene. So that was
interesting.
Fun.
Yeah. I noticed that too, and I was like, it doesn't make a lot of sense at all, and it like if I were dressing Piggy, I'd probably avoid the second hanging down necklace because it stuck out in a bad way. Because it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no fashion expert, but it does seem like maybe the wrong kind of accessorizing to have, one tight necklace around your neck and then another necklace hanging down like that. But if there are any fashion experts out there, please let us know what you think about this situation. Piggy tells Deadly that she received a kissy face emoji from Kermit, and she doesn't know why. So he has to tell her about the whole thing when she was drugged. She and Kermit exchanged I love yous. She asks who said it first, and he tells her that it was her. Piggy says, no! And then he says, but Kermit said it twice, so that makes her happy.
That means she wins. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Why just the kissy face though? Like, did he expect her? It's just such a weird, like, I don't want to use the word, you can cut this. I don't want to use the word boy, but it feels like that.
Yeah, I didn't know how far we could go, but like, what are you expecting? The eggplant emoji?
Well, I guess that's a different sentiment, but I guess it's like, it's vague enough. The kissy face emoji is vague enough that it means something, but it's not the same as if he had just texted the words "I love you."
Yeah.
By the way, I'm leaving in the part about the eggplant emoji.
But it doesn't make sense that you would just text like no words, just the kissy face. It felt very boy. I'll be honest.
I'll agree with you that it doesn't seem like Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
Yeah, there are guys who would do that, but it's a different kind of thing. Well, I wish I was recording video right now because Dave is very amused by this exchange.
Sorry. I know I don't try to do it, but I'm really good at setting Dave off.
Matt can make it so I can't breathe.
Oh no. It's a blessing and a curse.
It's the worst combo you could have put together.
So Piggy is happy. Deadly asks her if she's really sure about this. Does she really want to try to get back with Kermit? She says she is. He says, now, what are you going to wear on the most romantic day of your life? And she says something about something pink and sheer. And he immediately holds up that exact outfit on a hanger. She says, what if I'd said black sequins? And in his other hand, he holds up that exact outfit. Dudley continuing to be the MVP of this entire show.
It's fantastic, and it just really cements like that episode, the with the swing. I'm sorry, I'm fucking up here. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So the Got Silk one, like where it really cements their friendship.
Yeah.
And that's just like all throughout the show, they did such a good job with like these little hints of like, no, they're really good friends. Like they really understand each other.
Yeah. And Dudley really, he gets Piggy and he accepts her foibles. And he's there for her. Yeah, it's really great. I wish we've seen a little bit of that. I guess they've barely done anything since this series, but we saw a little bit of that in Muppets Now, I guess, in the Lifestyle segments. But
a little bit.
Yeah, I hope we do get to see more of that in the next big Muppet production. So meanwhile, at the studio, Kermit comes into the conference room where everyone is talking about this thing that they all saw on the monitor, because there was a camera in Piggy's hospital room, so everybody saw them saying, "I love you." The whole staff is making a list of pros and cons about whether these two should get back together. New Zealand shows Kermit this list by throwing a fish at it, which is perfect. I like that a lot. So there were a few little words and parts of words that I couldn't make out, but I got most of the things on these lists. So the pros, this is Team Love, the half of the staff who believes that they should get back together. Their things on the list are Piggy's happy, good crew gifts, more vacation time, Denise single, ? Leave work early, more calzones, low cal crafty, which I'm not sure what that means. Like,
I think it's great you wrote all this down. This is new rock stars screen crush level deep dives.
It was actually pretty clear on the screen in that shot when Lou throws the fish. So I think they wanted us to pause this and read everything.
Some of them look like very direct. Like I don't know if it was this board, but on one of them, and forgive me if I'm stepping on your toes on this, it even says something like Sweetum's niece or nephew can't go to college.
Yeah,
like it's almost like
that's
that's
in the cons.
Bunson's,
yeah. So
who?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you guys, who do you think wrote Denise single? Because that's really funny to me.
Yeah, we don't really have any indication that anyone else had eyes for Denise.
I mean, it could be anyone. Like it could be Pepe because he likes to flirt with everybody.
Yeah,
but it could be Fozzie for all we know. Like he got to know her when they were dating, and him and Becky broke up. So who knows? Or did they get back together? I don't remember now.
I think he makes a reference, or maybe that was last week or 2 weeks ago. I think he makes a reference to them still being together. But yeah, we haven't seen her in forever, so it's hard to keep track. But yeah, that's a good question. Other things on the list: come into work later, lots of chocolate, something about that apparently looks like Christmas bonuses, and then something that says code red. I couldn't make out all of that. The cons, this is team friendship, the people on staff who think that they should just be friends. Their list: Piggy always with Kermit, something that I couldn't make out that looked like POA, but I don't think that's what it said. Yolanda has more work. No hot guest actors needed. Kermit stressed. Candy corn. I don't know why candy corn is there on the list at all, or on the cons list, but it's very funny that it is. Piggy can do anything she wants. No island vacations. Piggy's maternity leave.
Oh my God.
Yeah, somebody's thinking a few steps ahead there. Sweetum's cousin, and then the does not equal sign college. So somebody's, I guess maybe that was Sweetum's contribution to the list. And P and K fighting. And then there's a third column, which is what everybody wants to get for lunch. And I can read that off
the
too.
most important.
I was about to say that's the one I want to know.
So that one is Mexican, Greek, sub sandwiches, calamari, Ethiopian, pancakes, hamburgers, kebabs, meatball soups, and sushi. Quite a range. What do you think they should get for lunch?
Popeye.
Pancakes is good.
It really
Pancakes
is like that
thinking outside the box a little.
That's the breakfast for lunch.
What were you gonna say?
I just said breakfast for lunch. Yum. But I was gonna say if you guys have ever like been around a writer's room, it really is like that for lunch. Like that's one of the most true to life things I've seen there, where like I've seen the PAs be like, just freaking pick something, guys. We gotta eat and get back to work.
Because this is like every possible cuisine nobody can agree on. I also noticed in this shot there's a folder in a rack on a desk that says on it, "Straight out of Henson Studios." Like somebody hand wrote that on the side of the folder. So that's a nice little Easter egg.
Was this after or before Straight Outta Compton came out? Like, is it that kind of reference?
Oh, the movie?
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
it was
might
probably
have been
around
that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't,
I remember
then, like,
at that
then
time.
Shout out to the guy who was just like making a call to the album.
Yeah. Yeah, it also makes me think they definitely wanted people to pause it and look to see what was in that frame. So Pepe is in charge of Team Love. Yolanda is in charge of Team Friendship. Sam says he's on Team Friendship until Janice says that she's on Team Love, and then he switches. So they're writing this this Sam has a crush on Janice thing like till the very end of the series here.
They wrote it into the ground.
Well, I was going to ask, what did you think of this?
In theory, it's fun. But for me, the part where it broke was the one time where he said that he like followed her home to make sure she got home safe. And then I was like, but that was a bridge too far in my opinion. And then after that, I was like, it makes me feel weird now. I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, I think it was always sort of teetering on the edge of getting creepy.
Yeah, I felt they pushed it a lot, and it was, Matt said it best. It was just kind of like, yeah, okay, we get it. Oh, we're doing it again.
And again. Yeah. So Kermit tries to explain to everybody that they don't get a vote in his relationship status. But then Bunsen explains that there are scientific reasons for their reunion being a disaster. And he has his own whiteboard, which is full of equations and symbols and pictures. And then like the conclusion at the end of everything is a drawing of the studio on fire. And it says the show gets canceled.
How prophetic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty meta. So they're saying that if they get back together, the show will get canceled. But this show got canceled, but they're not back together.
No, it's inconclusive, and the show got canceled anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was it cause and effect, or was it just coincidence? Who can tell?
Well, yeah, we'll never know at this point.
And then Thanos snapped.
Yeah, which Muppets would have gotten snapped out of existence? Which ones would stay behind? I'm sure somebody's written that fanfic.
I'll make sure not to read it.
Okay. Scooter tells Kermit that Bruno Mars, their musical guest, has canceled his appearance on the show after learning that Kermit and Piggy said, "I love you." Kind of weird, I guess. I don't know. This seems like another one of those things that was just written for, I don't know. I mean, we don't see Bruno Mars.
We see his picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just they needed a plot reason, and that's what they came up with. So It is what it is.
Yeah. So Fozzie, for his part, tells Kermit that he does not think that they should get back together. He points out that if things go bad again, Kermit one of them might have to leave the show, and it's probably going to be Kermit. But he says, "If I know you, and I do, I'm sure you've already given this plenty of thought." And Kermit says that actually he just flipped a coin. Fozzie starts shaking him and saying, "Who are you, and what have you done with Kermit?"
That felt so classic.
It does.
It felt so classic.
It feels like something you'd see backstage at the Muppet Show.
And what I thought was really cool about that scene is that, like, when everybody else was like giving him advice, Kermit was just kind of like, "Hey, you back off. It's my relationship." But Fozzie got to him. Like when Fozzie said, "I don't think you should be together," like he reacted. He was like, he seemed genuinely hurt, as I interpreted from the puppet. And but then when he even said, like, "You thought, if I know you thought it out," like you could see Kermit like, "Oh, he does know who I am." I thought that was my
Yeah.
2 cents.
No, I hadn't really noticed that,
Yeah.
but you're right. It's like the one guy that Kermit will listen to is Fozzie because they're pals.
Yeah, he just seemed shocked that Fozzie was like, "Wait a minute, you don't think we should be together?"
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And Fozzie there's really like showing that he understands everyone, like in a way that I didn't expect from Fozzie.
hmm.
Like for him to say something negative about their relationship, just it felt real
Yeah.
and unexpected. And that was the kind of thing that I liked seeing in this show. Like you'd see those little things peppered throughout where you're like, oh, that's an evolution of the character that feels natural, but is very realistic.
Yeah, yeah, this is a good example of that. And it's yeah, Fozzie is sort of insightful, but like I don't want Fozzie to be like the dumbest guy in the world all the time. I don't like when they play him that way, but he can be sort of naive and a little bit dim without being the dumbest guy in the world. So I think yeah, this is a good example of balancing that.
Yeah, you can be dim but still be perceptive, and
Yeah.
that's what came across.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So then we see Piggy appear in the doorway with her hair all windblown by this large fan. The fan also blows Yolanda across the room, which she's not happy about. It's always funny when you throw a puppet across the room. Piggy is looking for Kermit, who is hiding behind a plant, and he's telling the camera crew to get out of there and stop filming him. There aren't that many moments, not as many moments as we might have expected on this show where they acknowledge that they're being filmed by a documentary crew. So
When
like
they're
this
not
joke.
doing the testimonials, yeah.
Right. So I like this joke, yeah. Then after the commercial break, the next thing we see is so here's what we see. We see the Muppet character Old Tom from Muppet Treasure Island. We see Zippity Zap
Crazy.
from Muppets Tonight. We see Droop from The Muppet Show, who is slurping on a hand sanitizer dispenser.
My favorite joke in the whole episode.
Why? But Dave, why did he do that? Just to do it?
But that's why it's so funny. He's just like, and now they're out
Okay.
of hand sanitizer. Just like, oh my god, just called me out of the blue.
I did laugh a lot at that.
Yeah.
I guess he's complaining about it, right? He's like he's just slurped all of the hand sanitizer out of this machine, and then he's like, ugh, now they're out of hand sanitizer.
I thought it was like a payback joke where he was like, "Oh, you guys aren't going to put me on the show until now. Well, I'm taking your hand
Oh.
sanitizer."
That's just as funny, I think. I could go either way. Yeah. But yeah, all these very strange, very obscure Muppets, the likes of which we have not seen on this series, which we were hoping that we would see more of characters like this, and then suddenly it's the last episode, and now here they like you waited this long to give us this kind of wackiness, but here they are. We also see Link Hogthrob. We see a green Frackle. I'm sure he has a name, but I didn't take the time to look it up. Do either of you know the name of this Frackle?
I didn't even see Link Hogthrob. I was laughing too hard at the hand sanitizer joke.
Okay. There's an old lady. There's Howard Tubman, and Pops is in there. So it turns out that Kermit intended to tell everyone that they could invite a +1 to the show tonight, but he accidentally wrote +11. That's why all these guys are here. Howard Tubman overhears Scooter and Bobo saying that they need to book a new musical guest, and he offers his services. Apparently he's a manager or an agent. He says that he knows Scooter has heard of the white-hot group Jerry and the Atrix, and he shows a picture of Jerry and the Atrix. Go ahead.
I have to chime in here because so I watched this episode last night, and then just out of rotation of catching up on The Muppet Show, now streaming on Disney Plus, right after I watched this episode, I watched the season 4 episode of Diane Cannon, and there's actually 2 callbacks, and this is the first appearance of Jerry and the Atrix from that, and there's 2 callbacks to the show. The first one is that, and the second one is this is also the Diane Cannon episode of The Muppet Show is also where Miss Piggy is trying to convince Kermit that he's Fufu's dada, and that's the running joke through the episode. So it was very serendipitous to just kind of see that, like, oh, I think I remember that, and then watching the episode after, and it's like, oh my god, it's meant to be.
Yeah, that's really funny. So, but again, Jerry and the Atrics. So this, I'm sure most people who are listening to this podcast know, but this is a rock band composed of all old lady Muppets who performed a few musical numbers on the Muppet Show. They're one of my favorite things on the Muppet Show. I think Jerry and the Atrics are hilarious, and just to see this, like, they're just pummeling us with these weird, obscure characters at this point, and I love it.
I love it too, but I do wonder if it was kind of like a writing on the wall kind of thing where the writers were like, I don't know if we're going to get this second season. And then they sat around and they said, well, what's a Muppet you've always wanted to see on screen again? And then they were just like, all right, just throw them all in there because who knows? And I think it's smart in a way because TV is so fickle in whether or not you're going to get that next season.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got those big ideas, I think it's great to just do it and treat every season finale as if it were a series finale.
Yeah,
leave it a little open-ended, leave it some things that you can do later, but like put everything you're going to want in there.
Yeah, it might be a combination of like let's just do all this stuff that the fans of the old Muppet Show were going to want to see, and this might be our last episode ever. Let's just throw everything on the wall.
It's great fan service too, and I like the idea that they just kind of randomly pick that. And what was interesting about it is Scooter's like, weren't they? Was it Scooter? I can't remember.
Yeah,
they said weren't they old? Like 100 years ago?
He says, weren't they like 100 years old 100 years ago?
Right. Which is interesting that he would because so now basically what they're doing is they're saying like, look, this, we're recognizing that the Muppet Show happened and this is the modern day thing. But then later, no one seems to know who Bobby Benson and the Baby is, or
That's
Marvin Suggs, or Mana Mana. But like Scooter's like, oh yeah, I remember Jerry and the Atrics, but these other guys who we actually just did a movie with.
Yeah, it's the weird continuity questions that we shouldn't think about too seriously, but sometimes it's fun. Like, do these characters, the versions of the Muppets on this show, have they done the Muppet Show? Like, do they remember doing a show called the Muppet Show in a theater? And if so, was it 45 years ago? Because that doesn't really make sense.
That's way too meta.
And if so, then how old are they? And if Statler and Waldorf were in their 80s on the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
it all just snowballs from there.
Yeah.
Do you guys, speaking of continuity, do you guys have a guess for how long the show Up Late with Miss Piggy has been airing at this point?
Oh.
Because I was thinking about that at the end there, because she's talking about like a hiatus, which a lot of talk shows, they have like short hiatuses, but usually like they're pretty year round. So I was curious if you guys had a thought on that.
It gives the impression it's been on for a while, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, at least a few years. It does seem like another meta thing at the end of this one where Piggy says something like, well, this is the last time we'll see each other this season until we come back next season, where she's really talking about this show, The Muppets, because, yeah, like you say, late night talk shows don't really take 3 months off. They might take a few weeks off here and there. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I don't know. At least a few years, I would guess, for Up Late with Miss Piggy. And I guess, it's not necessarily on ABC, right? I don't think they ever say that.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
I remember at one point they were going to do something with Jimmy Kimmel that never materialized, but I remember like vaguely reading something that said like, oh, this is the show that airs after Jimmy Kimmel Live. Oh. And they might have like they were planning on doing like a bit where like he throws it to her, like Letterman used to do at the end of his show. He'd throw it to Craig Kilborn or Craig Ferguson or any other Craigs.
Craig Tom Snyder. Yeah, that would have been fun, I think. I wouldn't have wanted to see Jimmy Kimmel necessarily on the show, like, as a recurring presence, but that would have been fun once or twice, yeah. Howard acknowledges that Jerry and the Atrics are very old, and he whispers to Scooter that one of them had a thing with Teddy Roosevelt. So again, these are extremely old ladies, but unfortunately we don't actually get to see them perform. I would have liked to see that.
No, even the picture's not that good of a quality. It's all worn away.
Yeah, you think they just printed
like
that off Muppet Wiki?
It looked like the Wonder Woman picture in Justice League.
Yeah.
That one picture.
Yeah, that picture was from like 1914, but this picture was literally from 1979.
Right. Yolanda and Pepe are looking for Kermit. They hear his phone chime, and then they open a drawer in his filing cabinet. And there he is. This shot is just such a great visual. He's sitting on a pillow, and he has these bags of chips, a lamp, he has his tablet, and I think maybe a bonsai tree or some sort of little foliage in there. And all of this is just inside his drawer because Kermit is a little guy, so he can turn his drawer into an office.
And it looks like he's being puppeteered and maneuver as the drawer is being opened, too. Like there's movement to the drawer being opened and him.
While he's
I
actually...
I didn't know if it was a camera trick or what, but that's not the second piece of puppetry that blew me away, but it definitely made me go, oh,
impressive,
cool.
too. Yeah, I guess it's a pretty tight shot, so I guess they could do that. Yeah. Wow.
There's not too much to divulge, but what I can tell you when we were on set was that the relationship between the performers and the cameramen were as solid as the performers with the performers. Like the cameramen were essentially performers with the puppeteers. Like they were just constant communication, totally simpatico, because they were on, Matt, weren't they on the rolling chairs too?
They were, yeah. Oh. They were very much matching them in those movements and like maneuvering around the holes in the set for where the stage was raised. Oh, wow. and the puppeteers were in there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff where like the cameras will be following the puppets. It's stuff that we really hadn't seen before with the Muppets before this show.
And they had talked about, I think I'd seen in some interview or something like that, when they first started, they have to kind of train all the cameramen, like, no, you got to film above here and this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
And we were coming in onto the set, or at least I was, not Mr. I visit the set all the time, Mr. Wilkie over there. You could see that like the relationship had developed where it almost seemed like they could read each other's minds. Like they were just so in tune with each other. So those types of shots were just, the cameramen and the performers were making suggestions on how to film things on set as it was going, and it really shows.
Yeah, that's so impressive. And I think the fact that it didn't get talked about a lot in the general, like just regular reviews of this show and the discussion online, it shows how seamless it was, that most people weren't even aware that these are remarkable technical things happening.
Absolutely. And once again, even before the Muppet Show was streaming on Disney, just looking at any production from the 70s and 80s, like even the masters, Jim and Frank, like their heads came into shot all the time with the steady still cam.
Yeah.
And these are moving shots and all of that. And granted, editing was a lot tighter, and I'm the Alex Jones conspiracy theorist of removing arm rods and everything. But like they really kind of nailed down this relationship to make this an art form. And the cameramen really, or camera people really need the same accolades as the performers in this particular series.
Yeah, they really took it to a new level. Yolanda sees this revelation of Kermit hiding in the filing cabinet as evidence of how problematic the whole Kermit and Piggy thing is. Pepe's still not convinced. Scooter comes in and tells Kermit about Howard and his musical acts. Scooter is leaning toward Bobby Benson and his band of babies who look like monsters. And again, this feels like a joke meant specifically for us. We, the viewers who know and love Bobby Benson's baby band from the Muppet Show. I also like it because they They kind of do look like monsters. I love how ugly those babies are. I don't know about you guys.
They are. They've got very odd faces and mouths.
Yes.
Just absolutely terrible.
But it's hilarious.
Yes, it works for what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But man, it's ugly.
Yeah. Bobo also comes in and he says he has some jokes. He makes a reference to the movie The Revenant, which, I mean, I guess that won the Oscar, but that joke already feels dated to me.
Definitely.
Everyone's talking about that bear in The Revenant. Kermit yells at everyone. He says he's going to tell Piggy that they should just be friends. And then, in yet another remarkable puppetry trick, Kermit gets up on the filing cabinet and then jumps out the window. We see his whole body do this. The window flaps open. He sort of hunches down and then springs up out the window. He's hopping like a real frog.
That's my number 2. And the puppetry there is it's amazing how they
really
do that.
is. This might be the most impressive thing they did on the show with as far as puppetry tricks.
I mean, because we've seen full body Muppets moving using the use of green screen and strings and all that, but this didn't feel like that. This felt like that was Kermit. Like that felt like the puppet just became sentient and was like, I'm out.
Yeah. There's no part of him that's hidden. There's nothing where you could think like, oh, well, there's just a puppeteer there and we can't see them because the puppeteer would be blocking the filing cabinet. Yeah, I would really like to know how they did this.
Can I tell you a fun little set layout about that? So the window he jumps out is actually the walkway that you take to get to the set.
Okay. That's where, like, from the dressing rooms or?
What? Yeah, when he jumps out that window out there, that's the walkway that leads you into the set. That's where I'm going to throw under the bus. That's where Matt's girlfriend got in trouble because her feet were clacking on the wood when we were walking up that way.
Oh.
They were on a break. They were. I want that on the record.
Yeah, they were.
They were on a break. They called it, and she knew it was okay to walk at a regular way.
She knew there was no danger of. There was no danger of Kermit landing on her.
Yeah. But there was someone who called her out on that, and she felt very embarrassed, and she was like, I know they're on a break, Matt. And I was like, I know, you know. Another little behind the scenes thing I can share is that they filmed it on the Disney Studios lot, but they filmed a lot of it like in their soundstage. They also had a lot of shots that they did kind of like around the lot or like on the roof of those things. So when they built the set for Up Late with Miss Piggy, for like the offices and the writer's room and Kermit's office, they matched the exteriors to make it look like it was just another building on the lot. So like they matched the colors and the bricks and all those kinds of things. So that way when they did other shots outside of that soundstage, it all matched, which I thought was really cool.
That's smart. Yeah. They know what they're doing. Dudley comes in and Pepe lies and tells him that Kermit is still planning something big for Piggy. So Dudley goes in to tell Piggy this. She's starting to worry. She wonders if Kermit waffling, and this is when the Swedish chef pops up and offers Piggy a waffle. And this is yet another cool puppetry trick. It's a little simpler, but he tosses this waffle to her across the room, and she catches it. So presumably
off screen,
right? Exactly. But it's really good, like very precise camera work and puppetry because, I mean, I guess the Swedish chef is just like throwing the waffle and it just landed on the studio floor or whatever, and then Piggy, the camera whips over and we see Piggy with her arm stretched out, and then she pulls her arm into the frame and it has the waffle in it. So very, very well done. Great timing, great precision.
Very cool. I don't remember exactly how it went down, but I know that there were magnets involved because we were there for the second waffling joke.
Okay.
We were?
We were. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It was part of that. Yeah. I remember it because I thought what is this waffling thing? What does this mean? Because we hadn't seen them film the first joke, so we didn't know it was a running gag. And I do remember there was a magnet to it because I saw Eric sticking it onto her hand for the shot.
Okay, so there's a magnet on Piggy and a magnet on the waffle, I guess.
You sure that wasn't one of your other many trips to the studio?
I think it's the only episode with waffles. So, Piggy, Dudley tells Piggy that there's still this grand gesture afoot. Then we cut to Kermit. He's driving along, singing along with a recording of himself singing "Bein' Green," which is interesting because I guess that's I only played through this once, but that's the original recording of Jim Henson singing it, right?
I was going to ask. I couldn't hear it. I was trying to figure that out.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
Yeah.
That moment reminded me a lot of, there was like an old Kanye West tweet where somebody was commenting on how he had he listens to his own music a lot, and that's like he's his own favorite artist.
Yeah.
And people were making fun of him, and he was like, if you're a singer, why wouldn't you be your own favorite artist? So I think Kermit had some Kanye West tendencies there.
Sure.
A little easy.
I'm just relieved that it wasn't Rainbow Connection yet again.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Kermit pulls up alongside none other than Jack White, who is also singing in his car, but he's singing along with "You Are the Sunshine of My Life." This was established in a previous episode to be Kermit and Piggy's song, although we had never heard anything about that before this series. It's now, it's as much as there's anything in Muppet continuity or Muppet canon, I guess that's it. There's this funny little moment where Kermit is saying, "Oh, this is a sign. This is our song," and Jack White thinks that he means that that's their song, Kermit and Jack White. But Kermit has to explain, "No, not. It's you, but no, it's not." It's very funny and a very good performance by Steve Whitmire in that awkward little moment.
For sure.
Back at the studio, Marvin Suggs is auditioning to be the musical act on the show. He's playing "When the Saints Go Marching In" on the Muppaphone. The Muppaphone didn't usually used to have these little fringes on the bottom of each of the heads, did it?
That might have been a setup production thing.
I don't know if they had to rebuild them or...
I noticed that too.
Yeah, because I usually think of them just being
little
furry
like
balls. But
it looked like part of the sleeve that would...
right.
So...
Normally we wouldn't see that, maybe?
Maybe. That's what I got. It
Yeah.
looked like it was part of the sleeve, or it was... But who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Minor detail, but something that people like us notice. But yeah, again, it's just nice to see something as weird as Marvin Suggs on this show. And next up, Bobby Benson's babies are passing through, but Howard says they have a hard out at 5 o'clock for tubby time. That's fun. Scooter says, "Who else you got?" And then, what?
I want to go back to that real quick, because I was confused by this, because a couple of episodes ago they established that they air it live, Up Late with Miss Piggy.
Oh yeah.
So why do they have it out at 5 o'clock? What time does this show air?
I think that's something that the writers don't really care about too much.
Probably not.
Especially because there's no late night talk show that airs live anyway. So
yeah.
very impractical.
Well, I think. Did we talk about this? Jimmy Kimmel Live was live.
It used to be live.
Very short period of time.
Yeah. I think they realized that why are we doing this? And then they stopped doing it.
Yeah, it was an awful idea.
Yeah. And then Scooter says, "Who else you got?" And out of nowhere, here's Mana and the two Snouts. And now it just feels like they're pandering to us.
It does.
It worked.
Yeah. Yeah. And these are characters. There are a lot of casual fans out there who wouldn't necessarily know Jerry. Definitely wouldn't know Jerry and the Atrics. Might not know Bobby Benson's Baby Band, but they definitely know Mana because everyone loves that song.
For sure.
So that's fun to see. I think I would have... I don't want to complain too much, even though that's what we like to do too, but it would have been fun to see some sort of new weird act here, I think. Like, these are all things that we've seen before on The Muppet Show, but if they had just come up with one more weird musical act that we've never seen before, That would have been cool. But maybe that was the kind of thing they were planning to do in season 2. Kermit is talking to Jack White in this little park, and there's a fun wide shot where Kermit is sitting on the park bench next to Jack White, and we see all of Kermit's body with no visible puppeteer. Again, they're just showing off.
They really were. Because I know they've said how they did that before, but I couldn't remember, and I was like, how are they doing that?
Is it not just like another one of those green screen suits, or is it something more?
I don't know. Like I said, I said I don't know, Ryan.
All right. Well, I expect you to do the research and report back to us. So Kermit is now convinced that he should go after Piggy. He also asks Jack White to be the musical guest on the show that night. Unfortunately, Jack doesn't have anything better to do. So Kermit calls Pepe to say that the grand gesture is a go. And we see that Pepe has already started decorating the set of the show with all these romantic things. I'm not a person who necessarily believes that Kermit and Piggy have to be together all the time. I was not sad or disappointed when they announced the breakup and that whole PR stunt. But when I watch this episode, I do get kind of caught up in this whole, the love thing. Like I'm rooting for them at this point.
It was definitely the first episode where it felt like it mattered.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Because we like both of them and we kind of want to see it happen.
But it was also one of the rare times where Kermit expresses emotion back too.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Jack White rides to the studio in Kermit's car, and they sing along to "Fell in Love with a Girl." Not a necessary scene, but just a fun little moment for the White Stripes fans out there. The Muppets are all decorating the set, and Yolanda says it looks like Liberace's quinceañera.
So that line actually got genuine laughs on set. Which was interesting because I remember when we were, so the way the set is like we were actually sitting where the Up Late with Miss Piggy studio audience would sit that you see. So we're sitting there watching from there, and you could barely hear Julianne give the line because she was so far away. And actually the first time she said it, everyone started laughing. And I was like, first of all, you give Grace a hard time for walking during a break, and all these people are laughing.
Yeah.
But like it got a genuine laugh. Like people actually, the people on set, they got a kick out of that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was an ad lib, but Dave, do you remember, were there like other pitches I remember her like trying some other stuff too, but I can't remember what they were.
Yeah, I don't remember. All I remember thinking was like, that's funny. I have no idea what a quinceañera is.
Well, when a young girl turns 15,
yes,
in the Latina community, they have a giant party to celebrate, and it's called a quinceañera.
Well, now I know.
There you go.
The show is so educational.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize Liberace was Latino.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is like he wasn't, and also he wasn't a girl. So is this joke a little bit homophobic, or do we want to get into that or not get into that?
I'm not getting into that. I don't want to get roped into anything. Right. I didn't know what a quinceañera was. I certainly don't want to step on the toes.
We can move on from that. But hey, Liberace was a guest star on The Muppet Show, so that's fun.
Maybe that's where he had his quinceañera.
Maybe. He didn't have it when he was 15, so he finally got to have it on the set of The Muppet Show. Piggy walks in and assumes that everything she sees is part of Kermit's grand gesture, and Pepe assures her that yes, it is, because he knew Kermit was going to change his mind, and they have everything that they need, including a rose petal cannon. And Piggy is confused at the stuff about Kermit changing his mind. And then everyone just kind of lets it slip bit by bit that Kermit has been waffling on this issue all day, that he had to flip a coin. And Piggy is very upset by this. She has Dudley book her a trip to Thailand right then and there. Then Kermit runs in a second too late.
It's very fair for her to get upset, though. I mean,
absolutely.
If I had heard that somebody made Yeah, if a coin flip. Now, like, I'm really glad that they had that moment at the beginning of the episode where Rolf is like, "Oh, it's a psychological thing." But Kermit didn't know that, and
Yeah.
certainly Piggy doesn't know that now. So it would be very upsetting to hear that for sure.
Yeah, it's you're right. That was good to have the scene with Ralph because it confirms for us that it is what Kermit really wants from the beginning. He's
Yeah.
just, I guess it's kind of, it makes sense, and it's for it to be in his character, at least when it comes to his relationship with Piggy, for him to be indecisive. We've seen that before, for sure. It's a very strange relationship. And yeah, I guess Piggy's been pretty much on board with it for the whole episode since she woke up and saw the kissy face emoji. So I can see why you're on Team Piggy.
Yeah. I wonder if she is on board or if it's more like I miss him, but internally she's like, maybe we're not the perfect person, like the perfect couple, the perfect people to get together. I really wonder what was going on with her internally there, because there's, like, you can see very much in this episode.
Well, that's what I was saying at the beginning.
That didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's what I was starting to talk about at the beginning of when we started recording. Like, she says at the end, like, I've always known, I've always been all in.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, oh, you know what she is? Like, she's like, there's a commitment there. And that's why I personally said I'm Team Piggy, because, you know, Kermit really does, he waffles and he goes back and forth. And like I said, it's rare when he does express that opinion. But Piggy very heartfelt and very honestly and very strongly says to him, hey, bro, I've been waiting. I've been ready. And like, now, you know, you're just doing the same thing. So I was very Team Piggy based on that very accurate outlook of decades of a relationship. And I mean, you know, God bless her. I would get tired for waiting too.
Sure. And that is accurate to the history of the characters because Piggy knew that she wanted to be with Kermit from very early in the Muppet Show. She was a little bit inappropriately aggressive about expressing those feelings at times. But yeah, that's it. This is sort of a good, maybe more productive or more three-dimensional way of presenting that part of her. So yeah,
true. I was totally wrong. Everything I said was wrong. You guys have totally convinced me. It's all on the page. Just missing something.
No, there are no wrong opinions. Yeah, Peggy. I said Peggy. Piggy has Dudley book her a trip to Thailand right there. Kermit runs in. He's a second too late. Piggy says, "Boy, did you blow it." And that's when the rose petal cannon explodes in Kermit's face, and Crazy Harry pops up to say, "Did somebody say blow it?" Just the kind of thing.
So yeah, speaking of Muppet Cannon, yeah.
Oh.
Somebody say cannon? Yeah.
Yeah. That was we were there for that shooting, and I remember, like, the image I have in my mind still is them shooting it once and then seeing, like, the poor PAs having to go around the pedals and reload the cannon.
Oh, they just had to pick up all the same pedals.
They kept sweeping them up and putting them in, and it wasn't like a huge, maybe I'm misremembering, but it wasn't like a loud blast either. It was kind of like.
How did the cannon work? What was actually propelling those pedals out?
It sounded like
it was compressed air for sure.
I
but
think
I don't
it was
think
just like
powerful
air. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That would be the simplest way to do it. That's
Matt Vogel was off on the side with a hose, and he just waited for his cue. And
see, I wish that's what I want to hear. That's
from Dave's lips to your ears. Yeah, that's how it happened.
That's how they did it in the old days. So Kermit chases after Piggy. They have this back and forth in the hallway. She tells him that she can't handle, the whole thing where he's not sure about her, and like all the stuff that we've just been talking about. So the night of the show, Piggy is sad, but Yolanda and Rizzo are happy because Rizzo presents Yolanda with, it looks like to us it would be a ring. To Yolanda it is a bracelet. So a romantic moment between the two rats. We've sort of seen.
What do you guys think? Do you as the kids say, do you stan Rizzo and Yolanda?
I don't even know what that means because I'm an old man.
Do you think they make a good couple?
Do we ship them?
Would you root for them? Yeah. Do you ship them? Yeah.
I don't know. It seems kind of insensitive. Literally, the only two rat characters that appear on the show. And let's make them get together.
Yeah, I did have that thought. And also, we've sort of seen in previous episodes where Yolanda was not, and even earlier in this one, where she wasn't that interested in him. And now all it takes is like a nice piece of jewelry and suddenly she wants to be with him. I don't know.
It's almost like only guys are writing this show.
Yeah. Although, who wrote this one? I think there were a couple writers on this one.
There was, I know who it was because one of them was Scott Wenger. I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong, but Steve from Full House and Aladdin himself.
Yes.
Who was a producer. And he was a co-writer for this episode. And then the other one was Emily Wilson.
Oh, okay.
So there was a woman on this episode.
All right.
Well, we don't know that she wrote that part, though.
Scott wrote that part, yeah.
He wrote that scene. Do we know how Aladdin and Scott from Full House got involved in this show?
I think it's because I did a little research on this one because I was like, I went through the writing credits and I was like, that's really interesting. And then I remembered that like when we first got to the set, he was there too, just like hanging out, watching monitors. And now that I know or remember that he co-wrote it, it makes a lot of sense that he was there that whole day. But I think he just kind of evolved from an actor to a writer / producer. And I think he worked with Kristen Newman on Gallivant.
Oh, okay.
And so he was somebody that she brought with her when she came on board.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Did you ask him, hey, where's DJ or where's Jasmine? That's probably for the best.
Matt, is that the guy that you were trying to point out to me and I had no idea who you were talking about?
I guess so, yeah. Well, 5 years later, yeah, that's who I meant.
I'm impressed that you remember that 5 years later.
Well, there was to be fair, that happens a lot, specifically with Matt. Like, we'll be at Comic-Con or on set, apparently, and he'll be like, oh, that's so-and-so. And I'll be like, I don't know who that is. And I'll be like, oh, and then Matt will make a very desperate and passionate effort to get me to know who it is.
He's
and
the guy who did the thing.
Yeah, and in the rare instance that I know who the guy is, my response is very lackluster to Matt's expectation.
You need to,
and that it might have been a different guy too.
Yeah, sure. You need to pull out IMDb. So the show comes back from a commercial. Piggy introduces Jack White, and he starts playing "You Are the Sunshine of My Life." Piggy did not expect this. She is stunned. She looks at Kermit. He kind of nods at her like, yeah, I did this. This is for you.
That was a dick move.
Oh, you think on his part?
She said to him before the show, listen, if you want me to get through the show, we can't do this. So he's like, all right, I'll just do it on the show. Like, dick move.
That's a good point.
That's true. He's still a little bit oblivious. Like, after all this, now it's like, now you want to pull out the big romantic gesture? Yeah, that's true.
Did you guys notice? I don't know if this is right, if I have it right in my head, but in the scene where she's like hosting the show and she's on there, it looks like she's wearing the black sequin dress from before, from Deadly Before. And I mean, I could be wrong. It could be just like a different dress. But I thought it was interesting that she at first was wearing the floral one that they picked out together because she thought it was going to be this big romantic thing. And then when it wasn't, she's like, I don't want to be in this dress anymore. And she gets into a different one.
I did not notice that.
I didn't notice that.
That's a good eye for detail. Piggy runs off. Everyone else is happy. Yolanda and Rizzo are dancing. Gonzo is dancing with Camilla, who just kind of shows up out of nowhere. Very romantic moment, but not for Piggy.
One of his plus 11s.
I guess so, yeah. Then Scooter suggests that it's fine, it's going to be good. Piggy just needs to see that everyone is on the same team, because now they've all decided that they're on Team Love. And then so many Muppets take the stage to sing with Jack White. We got Fozzie, Bunsen, Beaker, Yolanda, Rizzo, Dudley, Big Mean Carl, Mana Mana, Gonzo, Camilla, Pepe, Scooter, Sweetums, Bobo, and Chip. 15 Muppets all wearing t-shirts that say love, all singing You Are the Sunshine of My Life.
Super cool visual.
Yeah.
Again, dick move. Like, I'm sorry. Think about a moment in your life where you broke up with someone that or someone broke up with you, or just a tragic breakup, and you're in that raw moment of like, I can't, you're heartbroken, and then like one of your mutual friends is like, I know it'll cheer you up. All of us being happy in front of you.
Yeah. on a live TV show, apparently.
Right. Which, like, so I get that they needed a reason to put all the Muppets on the stage, but from like a relationship perspective of going through this heartbreak, and then like, I know it'll make her happy, seeing all of us happy, which is completely counterintuitive to a relationship. So this is kind of why I was really on Team Piggy for this whole episode, because toward the end, she gets treated like garbage.
You're making a very persuasive case for this. So I get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanted to mention this song, You Are the Sunshine of My Life, by Jack White and the Muppets, was actually a single you could buy. You could either download the MP3, or on Jack White's website, he actually sold a 7-inch vinyl record single of this. On one side, you could just hear Jack White singing it with, quote unquote, the Electric Mayhem playing as the backing band. And on the other side was the version where all the Muppets are singing along with him. So I don't know. I think those are long since sold out 5 years ago, but if that
very
sounds
cool.
Yeah, maybe you could track that down on eBay.
If anyone listening has those, post some pictures, please.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. And yeah, this definitely feels like a Muppet Show number with the guest star and all the Muppets crowded around him on stage. So I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing here. And then we see Piggy getting on her flight to Thailand. She asks the flight attendant for a hot towel and a calzone. And suddenly there's Kermit on the plane too, and he has a calzone for her. She says, "What are you doing here?" He says, "I'm here, Piggy, because I know. I know it's risky, and I want to try anyway. And I know that this airline does not serve pre-flight calzones, and that's because actually no airline serves pre-flight calzones." It turns out that for all these years, Piggy has been laboring under the impression that airlines regularly serve pre-flight calzones, and Kermit has been supplying her with calzones to make sure that she doesn't have to find out the truth.
How deep do you think this goes? Like, does he have like a sausage and pepper calzone for Delta flights, and he has a different calzone for American Airlines? Like,
well, I don't know that Piggy's eating sausage.
Good point.
So again, I got to check in with some relationship observations here.
Please.
This is definitely a super sweet gesture, and it's the first time, at least in this episode, where you're like, oh wow, this is a genuine act of love on Kermit's part, a very beautiful act of love. It's an act of love that he has done for his reasons to keep them quiet. I guess his logic was, rather than get Miss Piggy upset that there's no such thing as pre-flight calzones, I'll handle that. You have two personalities of someone who craves public affection and is very amorous, and someone who is very opposite of that. It's not to say those two can't work, but it's two very different approaches to a relationship. And in this instance, if Kermit had just told her years ago, yeah, I totally bring, these pre-flight calzones for you, that for someone who kind of craves physical affection would be such an incredible gesture that it would never give her doubt. It wouldn't have led up to this whole, like, I've been ready the whole time and you haven't. There's proof that it hasn't been there. So again, very sweet on Kermit's part. He drops the ball. And from a relationship standpoint, the way this episode presents their relationship, Kermit is in the wrong a lot from my perspective. And I believe that I have a very healthy relationship. I've been married to my wife for 17 years. We've been together over 20. So, I think I have some insight into this.
More of a commitment than Kermit has ever made.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So that's just my personal observation. And from one guy to another, like, Kermit, bro, dude, get it together, man.
Yeah, that's right. It is, though, like you say, I think maybe it's even better than his big romantic gesture on the show is the fact that he has been doing this small thing throughout all these years without telling her. Like, that's the real romantic gesture. He's doing this thing for her in secret.
Right.
But
and once again, it's his personality type to do that.
Yeah, and maybe it just took him this long to realize that that's what she really wants from him. So, yeah, good. See, I do like the way that they depicted Kermit and Piggy's relationship on this show in a more, I don't want to use the word adult necessarily, but a more
mature
way.
For sure.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, they're really thinking about it.
My whole goal was to prove to you guys that Miss Piggy has been wronged.
Yeah, you convinced me.
You did it.
Yeah, I like that. And I also like this as a joke, though, because the fact that it's a calzone, it's just calzone is a funny food. The word calzone is funny. So from a comedy perspective, I think this works really well, too.
Absolutely.
And I also wonder, he mentions, like, or she asks about when she went to Argentina by herself. He says he slipped a calzone to the flight attendant. So did Kermit buy a ticket to Argentina just so he could get through security with his calzone and get onto the plane? Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's the only way.
That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
You can't get to the gate and talk to a flight attendant without getting through security, and you can't do that without having a boarding pass.
The Muppets have a calzone budget worked into the travel budget.
I guess so. And that I would buy that because Piggy's not going to look at that budget. She doesn't care. She just lets Kermit do all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think that's it. She is touched by this gesture, and Kermit says, yeah, let's just do it. Let's get away. We'll get away from the show, get away from all our friends. We'll just see what happens. She tells him that she just had a Chardonnay and 2 Ambiens, but she's going to try to get through this. She starts to give a little speech. Our relationship's always been a complicated one, Kermit. You know that. And that's why I really think... Ugh. And she falls asleep.
I was a little bummed out by that joke, only because I used to take Ambien, and it's a drug, and it's hard to get off of. And I thought they kind of made a little light of that. Maybe this is me being a little overly sensitive about it. But I was like, really? You're going to make Ambien jokes?
Yeah, they probably didn't think that through. Is it actually habit forming?
In as much as that you feel you can't sleep without it. I mean, there's, when you stop, at least my personal experience was when I stopped taking it, I didn't have any withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
But like anything that you take, it could be Tylenol PM.
Right.
You just, mentally, you're like, no, I need this. And you're not supposed to drink with it. And
no,
did you say she took one or two? She did 1 Ambien and 2 Chardonnays, or 2 Ambien and 1 Chardonnay? What was it?
Oh, I may have written it down wrong. I thought it was 1 Chardonnay and 2 Ambiens, but it might have been the other way around.
All right, bleep me if you have to, but that's up.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, they say in comedy that specifics are funny, so I wonder if they just didn't want to say, like, I took a sleeping pill or something, but it might have worked just as well.
Like 2 shots of whiskey or something.
Yeah. Because the point is that she falls asleep. Yeah, and Kermit has to take his seat because they're getting ready to fly to Thailand together. he's trying to wake her up, but she's out cold. And also Pepe is on the plane. He tells us he's leaving nothing to chance because love.
Love.
And that is where the episode ends, and that is where the series ends. So
that's it.
Clearly, this was intended to be something of a cliffhanger, where they wanted us to come back and see what happens. I mean, I assume they wouldn't have started season 2 in Thailand. It would have come back, started with the two of them coming back from their trip, and maybe everybody wanting to know, like, so are they back together? Is it official? What did they decide? But we still don't know, because there was no second season, and they've kind of been just playing it cool with the relationship stuff since then. They've done, they've done a few interviews, and they've just kind of like, yeah, we're just friends. We just work together. That's all it is. So, yeah, it hasn't had a chance to progress any further than this.
So when we were there, there were a couple things that really stood out to me. One of them was, like I mentioned, the relationship with the camera people, but like they seemed so settled into that studio. Like it seemed like their home. I've been fortunate enough to visit the Sesame Street studio as well. And like it had that feel of like, this is our home, like we belong here. And the crew was there, like Dave Goelz had his dog there, and like everybody was kind of pounding around. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody was like super sweet. We were treated like royalty.
Wow.
Like they were. Everyone was so kind and so sweet to us. Like we got to have lunch at craft services and sit at the tables with the performers. And everybody was just so settled in. And even though the writing was definitely on the wall, there really was this sense of like, I hope we can get a second season. Like I'm really hoping. But it was like, you could tell like they just had fun there. And I know that that's been said, since the beginning of the Muppets, but like it's a tradition that definitely has carried on.
Yeah. I imagine there must have been some optimism about the fact that they, by all accounts, had succeeded in kind of changing the tone of the show, making it a little lighter, a little brighter. So that must have helped. Maybe
it was, and without, I want to be careful of what I say, because I don't want anybody to get in trouble or anything like that. But there was also a sense of, while they were happy to do that and be there, there was also this sense of like, we kind of have to fend for ourselves. Like it's kind of up to us to really push for a second season. Like we need to kind of present this as like, in other words, the vibe that I got was that they didn't have many people higher up that were pulling for them.
Right. At ABC or at Disney or...
Yeah, they were kind of like, look, we gave you a show. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Like they even, like, Matt, help me from drowning here. Like, did you get that sense that like, there were like, we had conversations with people and it really was like, we want to put this together for the higher ups, like a gift basket, but like they were doing it. It wasn't like executives on the show. It was, to appeal to the higher ups at ABC. It was the performers. It was the crew. It was the cast. Yeah.
It's like I was saying before, TV is hard. TV, especially nowadays, you have to be right out the gate a huge hit. Because if you don't do it right there from the start, TV people just want to move on. They want instant hits, and then they just kind of move on to the next thing if that doesn't hit.
And this was presumably a very expensive show, I would think.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. The way those
just
sets
looking
were,
at the set, you could see it was super expensive.
For sure. And so you can tell it was expensive, but at the same time, I mean, like a second season, you've already got all the stuff built.
Yeah.
You've already got all the costumes made. So like I know that like every episode Gonzo had a different wacky shirt, which I thought was amazing. But, after season 1, you can just recycle those. No one's really going to notice that. So I think it would have brought the budget down some. but yeah, like I said, like you have to be so successful right from the start. And when they started, I'm sure that, I don't want to speak for anybody at ABC, but I'm sure that they noticed that the numbers were going down very quickly, that people weren't coming back to rewatch. And so when they did that retooling with Kristen Newman and the other writers that they brought on, it really seemed like they were saying, hey, don't give up on us yet. We really think that this is the way to make this even better and to have more people come in. And I think at that point, the marketing was just like, well, we gave it a shot and that's it. And we're going to move on and wait for next season to do something with somebody else and use that soundstage for somebody else.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. I really do wonder if Disney Plus had been around at that time and if they had gone right to Disney Plus, if we'd be seeing different things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Whether it's, I know like back when this came out, a lot of people on the forums were talking about, oh, this should have been on Netflix and they should have like released all of season 1 at once and we could all binge it and people would like it. And I disagreed with that at the time and I still disagree with it now, for the fact that I do think it works a lot better weekly.
Oh yeah, show like this does, I think.
Yeah. And I also like I also think that if it had been one season all made at once, with the original creative team, like with Bill Prady and Bob Cushell, like being more involved with that at the beginning, there wouldn't have been that retooling that happened in the middle. And because we would have just had the whole season out, we wouldn't be getting reactions online and fans chiming in on those things. So, I mean, like I said, TV is just really hard and really weird, and people just want hits, or they want to move on, or they want a reboot because they know it was a hit, and if they bring it back, they automatically have a fan base that's going to come back again and rewatch it. So it's just really hard, and you could tell that, yeah, like Dave was saying, the performers really thought that they had gotten the hang of it at that point, and they really wanted that second season, and they really deserved it, to be honest.
To say it was a well-oiled machine is an understatement. And the love and care that was going on there. Matt was talking about like the attention to detail with like wardrobe changes for the puppets and stuff like that. So one things that we, or at least I didn't get to see, was I guess it's Puppet Heap, their trailer right outside of the studio, where they
the company that makes the puppets.
Yeah, and where all the puppet wranglers would fix costume and take care of puppets was right there. And they had their own subculture, like they were their own clique that was part of this larger family. And one of the cool things was like, I think it was the engineering trailer, Matt, chime in, but this guy on his own time, with his own money, created this really cool giant LED Kermit that he put on the outside of the trailer. Wow. And he did that just because he was like, I love this. I want to, and it just lit up at night, and it lit up a good chunk of the lot. It was so bright. And he just made it just for kicks and giggles, I guess. And it was those kind of gestures that just seemed to keep the morality of everybody so high. But when we were there, like the Ralph's Piano Bar, that set had been struck, and with not much care. Like,
well, I was going to say, I saw on one of the performers' Facebook pages at the time, a cast and crew photo of everybody in the Ralph's Tavern set, and it really did look like just a bunch of friends having a party at a bar. So that definitely came across. But yeah, all that is really impressive, considering that was after only 16 episodes. They had just established such a community working on the show.
Yeah, they were really all in. Like they were all of them were all in.
Yeah,
That's hard to say. Everyone wanted that to succeed, and everybody loved working together. You could really feel that energy when you were walking around there.
There was this one lighting guy who had some attitude, but otherwise they were.
That guy.
Can I tell one story?
Yeah.
That was like the coolest thing for me. So there was a time in my life where I was in a band, and I was the lead singer and I played keyboard. I faked it. I was terrible. But we got a bunch of gigs, and it's how I met my wife. And my onstage persona, if you will, was a slight tribute to Dr. Teeth. And I wore a bright, shiny blue shirt. It was 1999, so I had Jinko jeans, not unlike Dr. Teeth.
Oh, sure.
But I had rings on all my fingers and whatnot. And
are there pictures of this that we should post
yes,
in the show
please.
notes?
I'll never tell. So if we did a gig that was not a venue that we could like talk at in between, songs or sets or something like that, my directive to the band was after we played a song, we would nod to each other, look around and nod at each other, because that's what they always did after a song. And I remember being a kid being like, why are they doing that? Like, are they that pleased with themselves that they're like, because normally when a band finishes, they kind of look down, they check their pedals, they, fix their equipment, and generally have this sense of, we don't want to be here. But at any rate, so when you're filming anything, I'm assuming you film way more than you need. So in this particular episode, there's a shot of the Electric Mayhem when they're waiting to come back from break, and they're playing in the pit, and there's some conversation going on. They cut to the Electric Mayhem. It's less than a second and a half, and then they cut back. They played that entire song while filming. I think they may have only done it in one take. It wasn't something that needed to be done multiple times because they knew it was a short shot. But they played it from start to finish. And at the end of it, they all start nodding. The difference is that their mics, there's no mics on them, but we're right next to them and we can hear them. Matt, do you remember this?
I do.
Okay. So they're there and they're nodding. Now, I don't remember who said what. I think it was Matt Vogel as Floyd. And they're sitting there and he goes, do you ever wonder why we just talk and nod our heads after every song? And then one of the other ones, I don't remember who, goes something like, well, no one can hear us. We can basically say whatever we want. And then what I do remember is Dave Goles as Zoot goes, poop. It was just the dumbest, quickest thing. But I felt like my entire brief career as a musician and just as a child wondering why, what are they doing this nodding we're so good thing for? And they totally called it out. And once again, that just kind of ties into the whole, everybody had, these thoughts about it. And then, I kind of got a little into my head and I was like, I wonder if they do that every time there's a guest there. That's just their thing. Or do they talk about different things? But it was just so funny that they acknowledged we're just nodding our heads like a bunch of idiots.
That's really funny. I got to say, you were a more observant kid than I was, I guess, because that never occurred to me as a kid watching. It just seemed like something, yeah, of course, you finish playing a song and you nod because you're happy with the song that you just played.
That's what musicians do.
Yeah,
the manager of the venue.
Yeah,
no, the manager of the venue would not appreciate any band sitting around nodding at each other.
Yeah, wow, that's really funny. Thanks for sharing that. So having revisited the episode now, do you find that your opinion of it has changed since the first time you saw it 5 years ago?
No, it's still great. I still love it just as much. Yeah, maybe even a little bit more. And especially, once again, just now being side by side with the original Muppet Show, kind of seeing there were some real kind of strings and pulls and acknowledgments to the original, not just in callbacks to jokes, but in physical performances. The way Fozzie shakes Kermit, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of it in this one.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. It's still, I think those back half episodes were just amazing. And this one was just as high up there for me. I think it's a really well done episode and a really well done series. And yeah, I still wish that, to this day, I still wish that it had a season 2. I think it would have been spectacular.
Yeah, I think it would have just gotten better and better. And I had a similar experience watching this time where it's like remembering some of the first episodes of the season and then watching this one and just going like, oh yeah, they're getting this right, they're getting this right, they're doing this for the fans. But this time, I didn't have the hope that it would be renewed for a second season because I knew that there was no more. So thrilling and disappointing at the same time. But that brings us to the end of the episode. Any final thoughts on the episode or your visit to the set?
I drew this while we were waiting.
The drawing that Dave is holding up with Kermit holding an eggplant and saying, "What's this kissing emoji mean?" If you can get a picture of that, I'll put that in the show notes.
I'll send it to you. That's what I was doing while I wasn't talking.
Great. But any final thoughts?
Nothing.
No all around.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say that, you know, like Dave and I were talking about how we were very fortunate in that we are, you know, I wouldn't say friends, but I would say acquaintances at least with some of the performers. And
oh, I thought you meant with us. I was
with
like,
each other.
ouch,
no,
ow.
I hate Dave.
Damn.
Sleep on the floor, not on the couch.
Frenemies.
And yeah. Like Dave was saying, I was very fortunate that I got to visit a few times, and it was true every single time, like we were talking about, that this was an absolute labor of love, this show. Everybody working on it was so excited that they got to work on the Muppets. It was amazing, and you could see that all throughout. And so as we're coming to the end of the series here, just want to shout it out that that's amazing, and that I'm so glad that those people got to experience that. Even if there wasn't a second season, they had an amazing year of working together on something that is really well done, and I hope they're proud of it, and I hope they know that how much people loved it.
Yeah, that's great. And I hope they get to do more of something someday.
Yeah.
So, with that, then, we can start to close things out. Everyone, please check out toughpigs.com. We're on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and various places. I am on Twitter at Ryan Roe. Let's do it in reverse alphabetical order this time. Matt, where can people find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at Writing Wilkie.
Very good. And Dave?
Instagram and Twitter, both at Dave Hulteen.
All right. Follow both of these guys. And
definitely Dave, and definitely on Instagram. He has an amazing art. I know everyone listening probably knows that, but follow his Instagram. He's an amazing artist.
Yes.
All right, your check's in the mail. I appreciate it.
And that is the end of the TV series, but it is not the end of this podcast series. Next week, Joe and I will be back to talk about that presentation pilot that we mentioned and to look back at the entire season. So please join us here for that. And if you can, please give us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or wherever. Tell your friends about this show. And thank you, everyone, and good night.